Hey there, thank you for joining me for another episode of YQG in Bloom. My name is Tracy Martins, and as you can see, we are still having our podcast pop-up at Wolf and Rebel in Windsor on Seminole at the corner of Drouillard. Today, I have Samantha DiFazio from 5 Foot Two Pottery, and I met you last weekend. You did a pop-up here.
Yeah, it was actually my very first pop-up ever that I got to do. So it was a little bit exciting for me, a little bit nerve-wracking as well, trying to transport all the pottery here, just hoping that nothing broke on the car ride over. So now I know how to do it for the next time I do a little pop-up. So.
And how did it go? How was your first pop-up?
It went really well.
Yeah.
I actually sold 16 pieces, which I was completely
Wow.
shocked about. I find that sometimes as an artist, you get really discouraged with yourself because you think, oh, maybe people won't like my work, or maybe this is just like my own style.
In 16 pieces in 5 hours, that's really good. That's great.
For my first time, yeah.
Yes.
So who knows? And
I bought one of them, and it's on my set at the studio.
that's awesome.
I
Thank
love
you so
it.
much. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So how long have you been doing pottery?
So I've actually been doing pottery since May this year.
Oh, you're really new to it.
I'm a baby. Yes, I am a baby into the industry, into everything. Pop-ups, vendors, small business, just barely walking, not even.
What made you get into pottery?
I've always loved pottery ever since I was a little kid. And then a couple of years ago, me and my now husband, we were in Toronto. And my husband's a museum junkie. And he dragged me to like 6 museums that weekend we were in Toronto. And one of them was the Gardner Museum of Pottery. And I actually was a student at the time. So I got free admission. And I walked in and I got to go all over the floors, looking at pottery from the Japanese era, Aztecs, every era that they had from all over the world. And then they had pottery classes there. And I was like, I really want to take pottery classes. And my husband's like, well, try to find something local. And then after a bunch of wedding planning and whatnot, I finally booked a 5-week class. And I started and I got hooked. Yeah.
Do you have your own kiln?
No, I don't have my own kiln or anything yet.
Well, that's okay.
I'm still trying to figure out that stuff. I just recently moved into my home, and so I'm trying to figure out setup for kiln and water and all those sorts of things. So right now I'm just I'm back and forth between a couple studios local to Windsor, Essex.
Yeah, I didn't know that we had some that would do it for you.
Yeah, so we have a couple studios. There's one out in Tecumseh, which is owned by Danny, and she does it's urban surf, sketch and clay, the pottery out there. I've been out in Amherstburg. There is JP Bondi. He owns the Pink House. It's right along the river where you get ice cream.
Yeah.
So if you're out in Amherstburg and you want to do pottery there, he does that. And then there's a pottery all over. There's a lot in the Bell River. I know G Pots is out there. So we're all over Windsor, Essex, and people don't realize it. So
I know we have a ton of potters, and I love pottery. And pottery is amazing.
Me too. I keep telling my husband one day I would love to like have my own studio and actually
Well, you're
teach
on a good
classes.
start.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, what is your favorite piece that you've made so far?
That's a good question. I have some pieces that I just look at and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I create this? Because sometimes you're like in the moment, you're like, yeah, this is a really good idea. And then you glaze it, and then it comes out of like the bisque fire and the glaze fire, and you're just like, oh, this is not what I wanted. I would have to say my very first piece. I'm most proud of that one. My very first piece I actually did back in 2018. I was on exchange in China, and one of my friends, I knew nothing about pottery at that time. My friend took me to go to a pottery class in China, and I think we started with like pounds and pounds of clay, and I ended up with something like no bigger than a shot glass. It's probably this big, and I didn't understand the concept of pottery because I was like, okay, when can I come pick it up? And they're like, no, you can't pick it up for like 4 weeks. We got to wait for it to dry. We got to fire it. We got to glaze it. We got to refire it. So there's a long process in it. And then some random guy came to Canada, messaged me randomly, and he's like, hey, I got something for you. I'm like, who are you? And I met up with him, and it was that shot glass. Yeah, that random shot glass I have, and it sits on my my fireplace ledge at home.
I never realized I was one of the... I can admit that I was one of the people that would go to Art in the Park and look and say, like, there's no way I'm paying $50 for a mug. There's no way, until I really got to know some of our local artists and finding out how long it takes to make each piece and all of the work and the skill that goes into it, and the firing and the sitting and the glazing and the painting. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And I'll tell you one thing, they hold up, they're sturdier than your regular glasses that you get.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I was exactly the same way, because you come from a place where we're taught about like the value of $1. And so why would I pay $50 for something that is handmade when I can just run to Walmart and get something mass produced for 1/3 of the price? So I completely understand.
And they are dishwasher safe, microwave safe, and I love them. And I love the fact that they're different. I've never seen until this year these little tiny bud vases.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. And you stamp on it and paint in it too.
Yeah. I've even convinced my dad. My dad is an avid espresso drinker, and I finally made him a cup with his name on it.
A small one.
He's finally ditched his normal espresso cups that I actually bought him, and now he has his little personalized Luigi cup that he drinks every single day and sends me pictures of him with it. So,
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
So is this full-time, or is it going to be full-time?
I'm unsure right now.
Yeah.
I would love to make it full-time. I'm wearing so many hats at the moment. It's not even funny.
Honestly, I really think since the pandemic, people have found so many different hobbies and loves and found the creativeness in them that now we're all like kind of, I got so much on my plate because I like this and I like that.
Yeah, and it's a form of art therapy as well. Just a little bit about my background. I studied dramatic arts in university. Then I went to teachers college. But before heading to teachers college, I actually wanted to go into art therapy. And the idea that during the pandemic, lots of us looked into arts and culture and media that way, just to heal that part of us that was missing during those years we were isolated at home. So I completely understand.
And it's got to be cathartic, just taking that clay and molding it and, taking out your anger.
Oh, absolutely. And some days are good days. Some days are bad days. Like the other day, I could only throw one piece, and you just kind of like sigh because you want to get so much done, especially since I'm working up to be a vendor for November. I actually have 3 weekends booked, and then I have 2 weekends booked in December as well. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta make pieces. What happens if it doesn't work in time? And so you're always thinking ahead. Like I was thinking of Halloween in August, and now I'm in Christmas mode.
Oh, and you're late for Christmas mode.
Oh, I am completely late for Christmas mode.
I know, I do crochet, and I wanted to get into the fall mode, and it's like, no. It's got to be a next year thing because it's just too late now.
I am completely late for Christmas mode, but that's okay. I have a few pieces. When I go home, I'm going to try to make some. So
that's great. Now, where can people find you so that they can purchase your beauties?
So you can find me right now. I'm just only on Instagram because I'm just starting out. Like I said, I'm a baby in this field. You can find me on Instagram at 5 Foot Two Pottery.
So we definitely have to follow her at 5 Foot Two Pottery on Instagram. And thank you so much, Samantha, for joining me today.
Aw, thank you. You're a pleasure to speak with.
Well, my name is Tracy Martins, and I want to thank you so much for joining me for another episode of YQG and Bloom. You guys have a great day.